Okay guys, I'm swapping in an AX15 in my Jeep YJ. I had an AX5 in it behind my 4-cylinder, so what I'm doing is this swap, and the AX15 transmission is more of a medium duty transmission, whereas the AX5 is a light duty. So what we have here is a brand new overhauled AX15 transmission that I bought from the transmission shop guys there in Memphis, Tennessee. And what I'm going to do in order to make this transition is I'm going to add a bell housing from a 97 Dodge Dakota. Also note that I've got the external slave drive option, 3/4 inch pilot bearing. So what I'm going to do is add these pieces and make the swap. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, this is the 97 Dodge Dakota bell housing that was behind a 2.5 liter. I took it off, got it at the salvage yard. Paid, I think, well, I paid $75 for the entire transmission. But main thing I was wanting was the bell housing. Took the bell housing off, cleaned it up, painted it. I've now mounted it to the new AX15 transmission, and it's just a direct bolt in. And I've also mounted my NP231 transfer case to the back of the transmission. I'm going to use the same shift housing that came out of the Dodge Dakota to mount to my AX15 transmission. And I'm going to use the Dodge Dakota shift lever just because I like it more than the Jeep shift lever. Be sure and swap over your accessories such as the so AX15 97 Dodge Dakota bell housing, the same NP231 transmission that came off of my Jeep originally. Over here is the AX5 transmission. You cannot use that bell housing, it won't work. I'm going to send this back as my core. This is one other modification that I made to my transmission transfer case shifter. This is the exact same shifter that came out of the 91 Jeep YJ with the 2.5 and the AX5 transmission. However, I did have to modify it just a little bit. This part right here, I don't know if you can see that. This part is basically an L that I had to weld on here. There was also a tab that came out here and went in. I cut that off and basically just welded this tab that you see right here. And that is really all you have to do in order to make that shifter work with the AX15 transmission and the NP235 transfer case. Oh, one other thing. I did have to lengthen this rod right here. It was too short in my case. So basically, you can see where I cut it off. Cut it right here and then re-welded a longer shaft so that it would give me more play for adjustment. The other one was just simply too short. But that's a simple modification that you can make to your existing transfer case shifter if you have the 2.5 with the AX5 transmission and you want to transfer it over to the AX15 transmission, because this basically mounts to the AX15 transmission versus the NP231. There's this one bolt right here does go into the NP231 transmission. I'll show you once I get it on here, but it's really simple once you see it. Okay, I'm installing this NP231 shifter assembly that I modified. This bolt right here on the transfer case attaches to right here. on the shifter case. Basically, I'm just gonna one other modification I forgot to mention is you can see how this bolt hole is actually elongated a little bit right here. You need that in order to fit the transmission on there, to fit the shifter on the transmission tower, shift tower. Okay, that was hard as heck to try to film, but while putting it in. But basically, this bolt right here, this is your case. And I'm sorry about the lighting, but I'm under a Jeep. This is the bolt that the back L goes into that I fabricated on here, and the other two supports are up top. They go to your shift tower, and there is a bolt that goes through right here that also supports the bottom of the shifter case. As far as the transmission mount to the skid plate, what I've done is I've fabricated a piece of this is basically a spacer. This is a 1/2 inch thick metal, and as you can see, this is the bottom of the transmission, and this is where the transmission mount bolts go. Now, I figured out a way that if I put this spacer in and then bolt the original mount that come with the 2.5 through these bolts, that it will actually line up and you won't have to do any modifications to the skid plate. So first I'm going to put these bolts in. To the back of this little spacer. Like that. I'll run those up, and then again I'll put the original spacer right here. I did have to drill it out a little bit wider for these mounts though. Okay, this is the original mount that came off of the AX5 transmission. What I've done is I've drilled a wider bolt right there, bolt hole right there. As you can see, this is the original bolt hole right here, but I had to drill one a little bit wider to match the bolt hole that I'm going to bolt this to. I'll just have to show you after I get it bolted up. It's just too hard to hold. Okay, this is an exploded view, if you will, of the this is the transmission. This is the plate, and it's a 1/2 inch thick. And this is the original mount that came off the AX5. And I'll show you up under there. Bolts here, and a bolt here, and this will allow the two bolts to line up with the original AX5 transmission plate. Okay, here's another view of the transmission mount. This is the 1/2 inch spacer right here, 2 bolts. This is the original motor mount, came off the AX5 transmission. It's bolted in right there. These 2 holes will line up with the 2 slits in your skid plate. Alright, and this is basically what it's looking like underneath the Jeep with the with the AX15 transmission installed. Okay, this is what the motor mount looks like on the transmission. Prior to me just installing the skid plate, and just a while ago I had it turned around backwards, so I just reversed it. But it should be that this little piece here goes to the left, or towards the driver, and that little piece over there goes towards the passenger side. And as you can see, using those mounts that I discussed earlier, the transmission mounts go in their stock location. Alright, this is the completed project, AX15 transmission, placed behind a 2.54 cylinder. Transformation was actually pretty straightforward. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.